It is official, ladies and gentlemen. Last night wrapped up Mexico's group stage participation essentially. Even though they have one game left, it is official. Mexico is going to the knockout stages of the World Cup for the first time ever, reaching round of 32, since this is the first iteration of the World Cup that has a round of 32, which is insane, quite honestly. Which is crazy because if they actually bump it up to 60 teams for the 2030 World Cup, as it's been rumored, what the hell is the first round gonna be? Round of 48? That's crazy though. But nonetheless, it was an ugly game, man. What can I say? I was really upset yesterday because I actually had to work during the game. I mean, I had to work, but I was supposed to get off earlier, but something came up. They kind of screwed me over. I got a route that got me home late last night, but I had my wife actually pause the game for me so I could come home and watch it super late. The game was already done by the time I got home, or if not in its dying stages, like in the 90th minute and extra time or whatever. And I watched it, and it was an ugly game, dude. It's not how I want to see Mexico play, if I'm being honest. I know we're getting results, I know we're winning, I know that Mexico right now is in a defensive oriented play style, which that's one thing I do want to touch on because there's a lot of comparisons being made between the USMNT and Mexico. And everybody on Twitter, not everybody, but a certain fan base, a certain cringy ass fan base, are on Twitter just bragging about how the USMNT is blowing teams out. I actually just finished right now watching the USMNT beat Australia 2-0. I am recording this right now, June 19th. It's 2:07 p.m. And yeah, the United States with another great performance over Australia. It's a different play style. When you compare USMNT to Mexico, it's like comparing Manny Pacquiao to Juan Manuel Marquez. That's a perfect analogy. Mexico right now is like Juan Manuel Marquez. They're defense oriented. They will counter punch you. They wait for you to make mistakes to capitalize on them. Just like Marquez capitalized on Manny Pacquiao's mistake, just running in there in that iconic knockout in that round. Literally like 5 seconds left, 10 seconds left in the round, and Marquez just knocked the fuck out of Manny Pacquiao. Like, it's one of the most iconic moments in Mexican boxing history, if you ask me. But nonetheless, USMNT, I liken them to a Manny Pacquiao right now. They're fast, they're furious, they're high level, attacking, throwing combinations, punches and bunches, just to stick with the boxing analogy. Whereas Mexico right now, they're like a Juan Manuel Marquez. Like they're just counter punching. They're trying to have control of the tempo, not trying to let the competition get too quick, get too pacey on them. They're trying to hold it down defensively and capitalize on mistakes when they're open. And it's a different play style. It's not that the USMNT is better than Mexico. Although I will admit it. As a Mexico fan, I can't hate. I will admit it. The USMNT is playing better than Mexico right now. I feel like they have found their identity, an identity that they hadn't had, at least during the friendlies leading up to this World Cup, certainly. And Pochettino has really began to implement something for this team that they know how to utilize. That's the difference. And they're actually playing very good cohesively. Like, these players right now for the USMNT, they're playing as if they've been playing with each other. These same players, as if they've been playing together for like a decade already. Like, that's how they play. Like, if they know each other and they've been playing already for a decade, like veterans, And of course, these veterans are going to occasionally make rookie mistakes. But they're playing good. What can I say? Mexico, on the other hand, they're playing very pragmatic. They're playing very, very safe. They're not taking any chances. And, it's like I have mixed feelings about that. Because on one hand, I understand. I understand completely, bro. Like, this is a high stakes World Cup on many levels, but especially because it's in your home. It's in Mexico, at least part of the games anyway. And in fact, beating South Korea last night now confirms that Mexico will play at least two of their knockout games in Estadio Azteca, I believe. So that is incredible. Unfortunately, when it gets into the quarterfinals, if we make it that far, knock on wood, but it will go to the United States. Mexico will travel to the United States and play those quarterfinals here. I'm actually hoping that, I think one of them might be in SoFi Stadium. Actually, I'm definitely probably try to cop tickets to that. We'll see, but nonetheless, yeah, man. It's just it's an ugly play style that Mexico is utilizing right now. Javier Aguirre has them playing Aguirre ball. Let's call it El Vasco ball. You know, this is kind of reminiscent to me of Chepo ball from back in the day with Chepo de la Torre when they were playing super defensively, just back passing. They were never even trying to make inroads. But see, the difference is that under Chepo, I mean, he was playing like that against the fucking minnows of CONCACAF, you know, Honduras and your Costa Ricas and Panamas of the world. Costa Rica actually was a very, very good team, actually, at that time. But still, like, you know, that's the difference. You know, at least El Vasco has a good reason for playing this type of play style. It's a high stakes World Cup. He doesn't want to take too many chances. But like, you know, on the other hand though, I really feel like you could play it a little too safe sometimes. And a perfect example is when they played South Africa. You know, South Africa accumulated 2 red cards. They got 2 players ejected, and yet the Mexican squad were still playing like if, you know, like they had a full 11 that were attacking, and like, bro, they were never a threat in the game. They had 2 players ejected. Bro, this was a handicap match. To put this in wrestling terms, this was a 3-on-1 handicap match, homie. And yet the 3-on-1, the ones with the advantage weren't even trying to fight. They weren't even trying to jump this man. They just let South Africa, you know, build up their little tempo that they were trying to build up. They never pressed them really hard, and like, that's bad. That's bad. Any way you slice it. I don't care if Aguirre doesn't want to take any chances. He's playing it safe. Like, bro, when you have situations like that, for an example, you know, bro, take advantage. Have the team attack. Have them play with balls, with huevos. I understand this World Cup is in your backyard and you're trying not to embarrass yourself. You're trying to redeem yourself from the previous 2 World Cups. But it's like, bro, at the end of the day, this is a sport that's supposed to be entertaining, you know, and the way you have Mexico playing right now, it really gives those soccer is boring people, it really gives them a lot of credibility when you see games like the first half of Mexico South Korea. Absolutely dreadful, man. You know, I thought Mexico South Africa was bad. Then you see the first half of Mexico South Korea, and it's just like, my goodness, man, why am I watching this shit at this point? Like, why am I even watching this at this point? I'm watching these guys just play kickball at a park, just passing it to each other. Like, come on, bro. You know, I'm happy. Don't get me wrong. I am happy that Mexico qualified to the knockout rounds. They've kept a clean sheet in all of their group stage matches thus far. They have one left coming up against Czech Republic. I'm guessing that's going to be Thursday as well, next week. But I don't know, man. You know, in that game, at least I hope in that game, at the very least, it's like, bro, you're qualified. It's a guarantee whether you win or lose. You know, you guys beat South Korea, so it doesn't matter if they win and we lose. Like, we're still going to finish top of the group, right? Because goal differential is not the main thing. It's the head-to-head score between the 2 group leaders, right? So Mexico's not only qualified into the knockout stages, but they're already done with the group, essentially. They finished first. It doesn't matter what happens between them and Chechnya or Korea and South Africa, because they beat South Korea. So there's just no way that Mexico could now go in second place or anything like that. So I hope to God, to the soccer gods, to Quetzalcoatl, to Huitzilopochtli, all the Aztec gods as well. I hope that El Vasco has the team play more attack-oriented football against the Czechs. I hope, bro, start Obed Vargas. He had his debut against South Korea. Absolutely tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. At this point, when we have players like Obed and Mora and Brian, like, bro, I don't even want to see Fidalgo on the field again, personally. I know that's harsh, I know that's harsh, but like, bro, give these young cats a chance. I don't know how old Fidalgo is, but come on, bro. He's a naturalized Spanish-born player that's playing for Mexico, and he's not even that good. I mean, he's good, but he's not great. He's not like Obed. He's not like Mora. Bro, Brian Gutierrez is just tremendous, bro. Just a tremendous player. He completely redeemed himself from the South Africa game. He was balling out, man. I don't want to hear nobody criticize Brian Gutierrez either. That kid is a stud. But like when we have these great midfielders like the ones I mentioned, I don't want to see Fidalgo and I don't want to see Romo. I don't care if he won man of the match against South Korea. I don't care that he scored the sole goal of the game against South Korea. That was not a goal he scored in the run of play. That was a bad goalkeeper mistake that he capitalized on. I don't know what the hell happened with South Korea's goalkeeper, right? He thought like he held the ball in his hand, but I guess the ball was loose. And Romo just kicked that shit into the net, literally, quite literally. That's how it happened. And, of course, the stadium erupted. Of course, people all around, the Southwest erupted in the streets. And I was just sitting there like, you gotta be kidding me. I didn't even celebrate, bro, when Romo scored the goal. I didn't even celebrate. I didn't stand up. Bro, I got more hype when Curaçao scored a goal against Germany than I did when Luis Romo scored a goal for Mexico on South Korea. The game-winning goal, incidentally, the only goal of the game. I literally just said to myself, you gotta be kidding me. Like this dude, and he literally was in the news leading up to this game, talking about, oh, it doesn't matter if Mexico beats Korea. We don't have to beat them. Something along those lines. And he got a lot of heat for that. And then we come to find out, lo and behold, El Vasco's gonna start his ass after making those kind of comments. And then he ends up being man of the match, scoring the only goal of the game. You can't make this stuff up, man. Absolutely incredible. I disagree with that man of the match, by the way. I feel like Tala Rangel should have absolutely won man of the match in this game. That incredible double save that he did. Bro, that was the highlight of the whole game. It wasn't the goal that Romo scored. The highlight of the entire game was that double save by Tala Rangel and that now iconic picture of Tala raising his hand up in the air, reaching for that ball as Johan Vasquez is about to kick it out, but then he realizes, oh shit, I'm about to score an own goal. I think Tala has it, I better not. And he had the wherewithal to literally stop himself from kicking the foot mid-kick. Like he literally, like, I don't even know how to articulate this, but he literally was kicking the ball and then stopped his leg mid-kick. It was like, oh shit, and then fell backwards. And that had to hurt, by the way. That had to hurt because he had to shift his weight to prevent himself from kicking the ball and also to prevent himself from falling on top of Tala's head or something, or one of his extremities and hurting him. So he had to shift his weight backward and like basically threw himself on his back in the net. It was just absolutely incredible, man. That was literally the most entertaining thing of the whole game, and it was also the highlight of the entire game. That moment right there. And honestly, I know there's still a long ways to go, but that's already save of the tournament. Easily. That's already the save of the tournament, and it's gonna take a lot for another goalkeeper to top that. That was an incredible save, just because of everything that came with it. Not just the save itself, but then Johan Vasquez, like I mentioned, the Korean player looking absolutely in disbelief, the camera panning in on his shocked face. Like, it was just an incredible moment. That's actually, real talk, that's actually one of the highlights of the whole tournament for me so far. Honestly, that's one of the highlights. Like, that's like literally top 3 highlights of the whole tournament for me so far. Absolutely incredible. But yeah, man, what can I say? Mexico is playing a very ugly form of play style right now. And you know what? It's working for them. Fuck, I can't even be mad because it's working for them. They're getting results. They're getting clean sheets. You have all these pundits, the English and American pundits, all mad, talking about, oh, let's see what happens when Mexico plays a much better team? Will they be able to hold their form? Like stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's making me happy though. It's making me happy seeing all them mad as hell. All the U.S. fans. Oh, Mexico is trash. Once they play a better team, they're gonna get humbled and blah blah blah. You know, it's funny, man. It's funny. Even though Mexico is the only host nation thus far to keep a clean sheet. USA has gotten scored on, even though they look like monsters. They've gotten scored on. Canada's gotten scored on. Congrats to Canada, by the way. The Maple Leaf Merchants. They got their first World Cup win against Qatar, a fucking 6-0 thrashing, which is actually incredible. You know, they not only got, you know, their first win, but that's probably a win that will never be topped again by the Canadian national team in a World Cup. Like, I don't think they will ever exceed that result. Granted, it was against Qatar. But you know what? In this situation here, context don't even matter because Canada are such an unlikely, you know, team for the World Cup. They've gotten better. I'm proud of them. But yeah, man, that's a tremendous feat in of itself. I mean, what can I say? Canada and USA, man, they're very attack-oriented teams right now. Mexico's a very defense-oriented team. I don't like it. Personally, I don't like it. I'm used to the Mexico of old. The 2007 Mexico that thrashed the United States 5-0 in a Gold Cup final, right? Was that 2007 or 2005? It might have been the 2005 Mexico team that thrashed the U.S. 5-0. Thrashed the U.S. 4-2 in 2011. You know, they used to repeatedly smash on Central American teams like nothing, right? 5-0, 4-0, 3-0 on the Central American teams. Now you're seeing Mexico play a completely different style, man. Now they're you know, they're sitting back, they're defending, holding down the fort, and scrapping by with low-scoring results. But they're getting results. So can you really hate on them if they're getting the results? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You know, it's like my wife, she's a huge Dodgers fan. Like, she loves the Dodgers. I actually took her to see the Dodgers versus the Phillies on her birthday, on her birthday week, I guess, her birthday month, last month. And I told her, I said, hey, you know, you being a Dodgers fan, would you be happy seeing the Dodgers win all their games, but they're winning very unconvincingly? Not playing very good, but they're getting results? And she said, yeah, absolutely. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I should feel the same towards Mexico. I don't know, man. I don't know how to feel. I really don't know how to feel. I miss the Mexico of old that was, you know, when we had attackers like Carlos Vela, Giovanni Dos Santos, you know, tactical midfielders like Hector Herrera, Gerardo Torrado, destroyers like him, you know, and Guardado with the great passes, you know, but quite frankly, we don't have players like that anymore. That's just the cold-hearted truth, man. We just don't have a talent pool like that anymore. And it's sad, you know, and it's especially to see you bitch-ass USMNT fans talking shit. It's like you guys are barely now starting to get good at the game, and or at least you think you are. You know, this is literally your best generation ever. This is our worst generation ever, and yet we're still the champions. We beat you 1-2 Gold Cup final. We won the Nations League final, where you took your A team, by the way. That's their go-to. Oh, we don't take the Gold Cup seriously. We send our B team. We send our reserves to play those. Okay. Well, you took your A team to the Gold Cup, and you got your ass whooped there too. Okay. You lost to Canada and Panama. Whooped your ass too. You know. So I don't want to hear no shit talking. Mexico's getting results, and only time will tell what happens in the knockout games. As for South Korea, they're going to thrash South Africa, and they're going to go in a comfortable second place in the group stage, and where they will play their knockout games at SoFi Stadium, I believe. At least one of them will be at SoFi Stadium. That's big. That is big for Korea Republic. Like I said in the last transmission, Koreans have a huge, you know, representation here in Los Angeles. And so for them to play their games at SoFi Stadium, that's like their Estadio Azteca. Let's just put it like that. So I'm happy for them too. Although I gotta say, I don't know what player it was, but one of the Korean players was a little bitch. Like, that fool got taken down, But he really, it looked like he threw himself and made a fuss. You know how players do. Like they make a fuss out of it, and then Gallardo actually tried to lift him up. Like he put his hand out to as it's traditional to lift up the player that you just dropped. And then the Korean player had his hand out and then took his hand away like a little bitch and continued to cry, and you could see Gallardo was like, well, a la verga pues. Like fuck you then, and walked away. It was that was funny, but nonetheless, I wish the Koreans the best in say in their future endeavors. I wish them well for the rest of this tournament, and I hope they also do the same for us. There's been a lot of camaraderie between the Mexican fans and the Korean fans, Mexican American fans and Korean American fans. You love to see it. I didn't get to go to K-Town and all. I'm actually glad I didn't go though, to be quite honest. I'm not just I swear I'm not just coping because I had to fucking work overtime, but I seen the videos of how packed it was in Koreatown. And I mean finding parking in K-Town is already like Mission Impossible 5. But then you add in a huge event like this, Mexico, South Korea. Bro, that might as well have been a World Cup final, by the way. At least for Angelinos. For Los Angeles, homie, Koreans and Mexicans, like I said, big representations out here, But yeah, K-Town was crazy. I'm glad I didn't go. I wouldn't have found parking. I would have had to take the transit, and just way too packed, bro. I'm too old for this kind of shit. Like, nah, bro. I wouldn't have been able to do it. I'm glad I didn't go. I'm an unk now, I guess. I can't do stuff like that no more. And by the way, just as a tangent, it's funny to me how like Gen Zs and whatever these kids are now, I don't know, but like they call anybody unk. Like when I was, when I was coming up, you called like a 40-year-old an unk, like a 45-year-old, 50-year-old. Those were unks. But now these kids today, they're calling like 26-year-olds unks, 27. I'm like, damn, man, you fools are advancing too quickly, man. Slow down, relax. 26 and 27 is not old, trust me. Bro, you're not even old in your 30s yet. Like in sports, yeah. Like in sports, I'm already retirement age. I'm fucking 36. Like if I was an athlete, I'd already be retirement age. But like for a regular person, regular life, like not even your 30s is old yet. Once you hit your 40s, yeah, you're officially old now. You're getting there. You're middle aged. You're getting up there. I don't know if 30s is middle age. Anyway, nonetheless, today we got Morocco and Turkey gonna go down, as well as we got Scotland, Morocco going down today. Turkey is gonna take on Paraguay, and Brazil plays against Haiti. I'm just gonna say right now, in that Brazil-Haiti game, it's gonna be like fucking 4-0 for Brazil. Scotland, Morocco, I gotta roll with Morocco, man. Scotland had kind of a good showing against Haiti. I feel like Haiti was low-key robbed, though, because I'm pretty sure, like, they should have got a penalty. Something happened. I don't remember that clearly, but I know something happened, and I'm like, oh yeah, Haiti's kind of getting robbed, low-key. But nonetheless, Morocco is gonna return the favor and whoop that ass, and then Turkey should take care of business with Paraguay. I don't think Paraguay is ever going to recover after that thrashing 5-1 or whatever it was against the U.S. MNT. That's my prediction for Paraguay and the rest of this group, homie. They're not going to... They might beat Haiti. Maybe they might beat Haiti or get by with a draw. But even no matter what game they win, they're out of here, bro. They're not advancing. They're not going to recover from that beatdown that they got at SoFi Stadium. That was nasty. That's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. I will try to continue this World Cup coverage as the tournament progresses. I know there's been a few games, a handful of games that I've missed already, didn't even comment on. But it's a lot, man. It's a lot, But, man, the World Cup is it's larger than life, man. You know what I mean? That's all I got to say. People that aren't soccer fans... I hate calling it soccer, but like I've said before, I just say it because if I say football, it gets confused with NFL. But soccer is, for people that aren't really into soccer, so they don't even pay attention to the World Cup, man, they're missing out. They're missing out, bro. Like, I kind of pity those people that haven't discovered the beautiful game and what makes it beautiful. because it's not just the sport itself, which is freaking incredible. The sport, the rules of it, the plays, the different types of tactics, the intelligence that goes into it, but it's also the culture, man. It's also the diversity, all the different countries, and it's just a incredible experience, man. People that aren't into soccer, I feel bad for them, legitimately. It's kind of like people that have never watched Breaking Bad. Like, I feel bad for them, and I envy them too, because they get to watch it for the first time. And man, I wish I could erase my memory of that show so I could watch it for the first time. Nonetheless, thank you very much for tuning in. We will score a golazo in the next one.